guys, it's Rob and welcome to Axel's Garage. Today we're out here in the driveway working on another Jeep. Yeah, it's my daughter's 97 Wrangler. She's been home from school for a couple months now. She came home for the summer and she's leaving Monday and it's Saturday. And we waited until the last minute like anything to do some work on it before she goes back to school with it. When she came home back in May, she was complaining that a horn didn't work. And when I drove the Jeep, I noticed her airbag light is on. So horn not working, airbag light on, all points to clock spring. And we checked the fuses, we checked everything out, and everything seems to be good. So it's a pretty safe bet. It's the clock spring. Do some research online. They tell you horn, airbag. There's a couple of indicators that'll say clock spring. One of the other things is her cancel, her turn signal or directional cancel doesn't cancel going left. And we replaced the turn signal switch because we thought that was it, but it's not. It's actually one of the tabs on the clock spring has over the years had broken off, so it doesn't cancel to the left. So the only way to fix that is to replace the clock spring. Most people don't normally replace a clock spring just for that reason, so now we got more reason to replace the clock spring, so that's what we're going to do. You do have to pull the wheel off, so you do need a puller, and it's really it's straightforward, but it is a little involved. So we'll move the camera, get some tools out, and we'll get that clock spring replaced. As far as the part goes, a lot of people say to use a Mopar original replacement. You know us, we're cheap, so we went with an aftermarket replacement. Usually run you about $100 or so. This one is a Dorman part, and what the clock spring does is, because the steering wheel moves and there is electrical connections in that steering wheel and it has to be able to spin all the way around, they make this device called the clock spring that goes in place, and it has some kind of electrical doohickey in here that keeps contact with these wires and allows it to spin all at the same time, and then it connects to the vehicle over here. So this end goes to the vehicle, this end goes to the steering wheel, and it allows you to turn the steering wheel around while maintaining the electrical connections. So hopefully this will solve our problem. Okay, so inside the Jeep, on the back side of the steering wheel, little tools, 8mm. Okay, so you got your two 8mm out. And this whole thing now is going to fall out. You know what? I'm kind of stupid here. Let me just turn this wheel so it's straight. Just to make it a little bit easier to work on. What do you think? Does that look better? Yeah, okay. So anyway, take your two little 8mm bolts out. On the back here, it looks like you have two electrical connections, and you might need a little flat blade screwdriver to get them off the back of the airbag. You got a wire for the horn and a wire for the back of the airbag. We want both of them to work, so we don't want to screw them up. So what I'm going to do is get a little flat blade screwdriver, and I'm going to look at my connection on my new clock spring to see if there's anything odd about getting that on your new clock spring. It's just pressed in there, so if I just take a little flat blade screwdriver, wind it in, and this one is just a regular spade terminal, so let me go get a little flat blade. And that pops off real easy, and this little wire connection here pops off, and now your whole airbag assembly and horn pops off in one piece. Alright, that's where your airbag plugged in, and this wire right here for your horn. Alright, so put that aside, and here's your two wires. There's your original clock spring right there, and now you got to get this nut off for the steering wheel. Now let's figure out that size. This way you're not hunting for tools like I do. Okay, so after a little trial and error, 21mm. Right on that. Put a little extension on it, and we are going to hopefully get it off without you having to use the impact. I don't think it's going to happen though. No good. Alright, we're going to try to place it with the impact because I can't seem to hold the steering wheel back and turn that at the same time. Okay, if you don't have an air impact or an good electric impact, you could probably get this off with a long breaker bar and the help of a friend holding the steering wheel. This definitely does make it easier. Comes right off. Alright, now the steering wheel does not come off. Alright, there are people that will tell you that if you wiggle and pry something back there, you can get it off. I don't think you're going to get it off. You need to use a puller. You can use a steering wheel puller. You can use a harmonic balancer puller. If you don't have one, you have big box auto parts stores usually rent them or loan them. If not, you got a mechanic buddy, borrow one. For things like this, a Harbor Freight quality puller will work. So if you had to buy one, go run over to Harbor Freight and buy one. It's a decent tool to have. I have a balancer puller. I'm going to see if I can get that to work. Alright, so there we go. Try to get them to match up so it's pulling straight. Do it pretty good like that. Turn it by hand, bottom it out. Now it's tight. And spin it the wrong way like I do. Right. Okay. Once it releases, the steering wheel comes right off. Let the wires pull through the bottom. There you have it. And that is your clock spring. So, what do we got to do to get that clock spring out? Well, it looks like we're going to have to take out these, this shroud cover here. Which there is a trick to it. We're going to explore that trick as well. Let me move my tools out of the way so I can get in here and show you how to get this. We have, I believe there's 2 or 3 Phillips head screws that hold this bottom plate in. And there's also another hole right here which is going to release your ignition cylinder, and I'll show you how that works as well. So I got a decent number 2 Phillips screwdriver, and if my memory serves me correctly, a nice thin, like a number 1 Phillips. And what you're going to do is you're going to put the key in, you're going to take this Phillips, you're going to slide it up, and you're going to turn the key on, and you're going to push this up, and you should be able to pull the cylinder out. Look at that. There we have it. That's all it took. So you put the key in there with the cylinder, and now we got this. Realize your ignition is on. Most people will say, hey, disconnect the battery before you start. You're doing electrical work and you won't have that problem. And they're right. You probably should disconnect the battery first. I didn't. So now come up here and get these screws out with the head named Philip. And there's 3 of them. Where's the 3rd one? Oh, there's only 2 of them. Oh, no, there's 2 of them. Everybody says I'm losing my memory. And I remember there were 3. So that is your bottom piece. And your top, it might be easier if you tilt your wheel down a little. The top piece, just lift it up a little. I don't think we need to take it all the way out. Alright. Now we got the clock spring. This is the clock spring. So, it's got a little connector on the back here. to get off. So let's just pull the clock spring straight out and see what happens. What keeps it retained to the top? Look at this one. Oh, it's a clippy dicky. Goes like that. This little clippy dicky retains it at the top. That must be really... There's got to be a special way to get that out without breaking it. Aha! Okay. So let's pull this top piece off. So pull it all the way down. Alright, Phillips head screwdriver's on top. We are going to take these screws out up top so that we can get that clip that's on the top of the clock spring that's holding it in place out. I'm sure we could just rip it out and break the clip because the clock spring's bad anyway. But let's figure out how to do it the right way so that if for some obscure reason, which does happen from time to time, this doesn't fix the problem, we know this clock spring is good and we can put it in our parts heap for the next time that we might need a clock spring to replace or a clock spring to troubleshoot. But I have a feeling this is bad. Alright, so we got these screws out. Pry this back like that. And that will expose this little top doohickey. And this should slide right out now. Okay. Slides right off, and there's your electrical connection on the bottom. And there's my broken tab. Can you see my broken tab? I'll show you when I pull it out. Take my electrical connection off, and here we have my broken tab that is not canceling my left, and that's why. So we know at least this doesn't cancel. We're hoping that it's got an electrical malfunction in it too. This is a very dusty and dirty thing. Alright, so now we got our new clock spring. If you notice, our new clock spring has a stop in it. See this right here. Right, and that's so that it all lines up when you're installing it, and then you can take that stop out. Right, that keeps it in this position here until you get it in place, because you want your little, see right here, this is your canceler for your directional, right? Blinking to the right, and when you turn the wheel, it's going to cancel it, and then now I'm blinking to the left, and when you turn the wheel, it's going to cancel it. So have that right in the middle, slide your new clock spring in, right over it. Alright, you got to give it a little wiggle, boom, snaps in on the top and the bottom. Right, and now you can take this piece out, pull that out. Alright, and now it's putting it back together. So now we're going to take this, slide this back over our hazard switch. Okay. And we're going to put those two screws back in. Screws back in. Now we can put in our top cover. Once you get it in place, nice and easy, then we can take our bottom. Let's make our electrical connections. We'll put the bottom on. Make sure you hear that little positive click.
that straight though? The wheel?
It only goes on one way. It's blind.
Oh.
Right? I'm pretty sure it only goes on one way.
I don't know. Is there a groove in it in this blind?
I think there's a groove in it. Yeah. Yeah, there's a groove in it.
Okay.
So there you go. There's a groove in it to make sure that your wheel's on. You don't have to worry about putting the wheel on cocked or cockeyed. Alright, so that's good. Now let me take my doohickey here. Alright, so plug my horn. Make sure my horn's plugged in. Plug my airbag in. You know, there was a whole lot of stuff online. Airbags in about discharging the airbag and all of that. Alright, airbag light is out. Okay, so everything's good. All I gotta do is put those 8mm bolts back in the back and we are done. Nice. Oh, I didn't put the bottom collar on. Yeah, I gotta put that bottom collar on, put the ignition switch back in, and I'll show you how to do that. I should have done that while the wheel was off, but I got carried away. So this bottom collar goes back on. Alright, if you tilt up, it'll make it easier to get it on. Alright, make sure you line up all your plastic tabs, and then you can take your ignition switch, which remember is in the on position, so you got to put it back in the on position. And you jiggle and jiggle and jiggle until you get it in. Okay, and once you get it in, you turn your key off, and now it's locked into place. And it won't come back out on you. Alright? And now you have 3 heads of Phillips screws that go on the bottom here to hold the bottom trim collar piece, whatever you want to call it, on. So you turn those bad boys in. So now what I was saying about the airbag was, there's a lot of information online about discharging the airbag. Disconnecting the battery, pulling relays, pulling fuses, letting the airbag, the static charge in the airbag discharge or some bullshit like that, whatever it was, because the airbag is going to blow if you start taking it apart. Read it, I don't know. I just did it. We connected the airbag back and forth 3 or 4 times. It didn't blow up in our face. Alright, so, I don't know. Use your own judgment when it comes to that. Okay, after you got your collar in the back, you got your 2 8mm, which is where we started, right? 8mm. Just okay. Alright, so sometimes you do have to stick your head all the way underneath. I couldn't find. I'm not going to say. You know what I was going to say. I'm not saying that. Alright, so get them both in hand tight. And put your little ratchet doohickey on it. Snug them up. They don't have to be crazy tight. Just snug. Alright. Find your keys. Turn that key on. Have no airbag light come on. Come on, baby. Turn off. You mother freaker. Oh, it's off. Nice. Okay, no airbag light. And a horn. Okay. And now what was the other thing? Left turn, Clyde. Why isn't my directional working? Right turn. Left turn. Ha-ha! Right turn. Ha! And it cancels both directions. With fixed. She could stop nagging. And we're done. On to the next thing, because yes, there is more than one thing I have to do in the next day that she's going back to school, or 2 days, when we get this thing out of here for another 9 months, and it'll come back with all kinds of problems again like it always does. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Clock spring, easy. I never did one before. This is the first one. Really wasn't that hard. Little trial and error, little common sense. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us that thumbs up, and if you like what we're doing here at Axel's Garage, as always, please subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.